It's the Joe Show. It's the Joe Show. It's the Joe Show. It's the Joe Show. On a sick one. On a sick one.
On a sick one.
On a sick one.
On a sick one.
On a sick one. On a sick one.
And we are back with the 21st episode of the On a Sick One podcast. And this one's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to hold a significant amount of value, not only to myself, but the people that are in this room with me watching this be recorded, the fans, the one that have been supporting me since the first episode, and all the walks of life that I've encountered in between that have helped me on my journey to get to myself, the man that's sitting in this chair today. So real quick, I'm going to give some credit where credit's due, because a lot of the times people are deserving of credit, and I think that's hard sometimes to express to people, and I think it should happen more often. And there's been a lot of hands and a lot of people and a lot of moving parts that I've done to help other people, and for certain that have helped me. So we're gonna give some people their flowers, if you will, on the 21st episode of the On a Sick One podcast. The first people that I would like to thank of helping me to get to this point and that have been really supportive are my children's mothers and my children. So Danielle Velasquez, Chanel Correa, Sorgani, Zoel, Peyton, Tanner Joe Teej, and David Dean Douglas, Sorgani. I really appreciate their mothers, because although it hasn't worked out with either of them, and as much as I may have caused them to go mad at times, when I'm on the road chasing my dreams and fulfilling my purpose, they're at home, whether it be here in Reno, Nevada, or now on the island of Oahu, where we are very, very blessed to be guests to live, Chanel and I and Dave and Zoe. So I just want to thank them, because it's, at the end of the day, no matter what, as a man, if you are a man that understands the bigger picture, it's all about the ladies and the babies. So with that being said, I want to give some flowers to my mom. Love you, Mom. Dana Relly. And I also want to tell Mom, thank you for making me a sensitive creature, because my mom is the reason why I am so sensitive and why I'm so compassionate and why I have such a big heart. So thank you to the ladies in my life. The Concrete Cowboys, and not just them, but the motorcycle world in general, and all the friends that I have hung out with, done shows with across this country. And I've been very fortunate to work with some of the most incredible people in the industry. And Concrete Cowboys, East Coastin', and so many riders all in between. But it's a very, very, very highly appreciated, and I'm very proud that I'm the announcer and the hype man and the glue for the Concrete Cowboys, and that I've earned the right to work for one of the teams that, when I first got a Harley, was one of the most, couldn't take my eyes off a group of people in the industry, and that's East Coastin' Crew. And it's a bunch of wild Italians from the East Coast who are really great men and very, very talented Harley Davidson riders. And I'm also Italian, and so it just kind of fits. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. So maybe I give myself a little flowers on that one. So thanks to them as well. And it's not going to be a thank you thing this whole time, but the videographers and creators that have helped me create J Lifestyle Studios here in Reno, Nevada. Lane's World. Lane's World is the videographer for the Concrete Cowboys YouTube. Amazing human being. And Chopsky, in my personal opinion, one of the greatest photographers of all time, has worked with countless major artists, and he's a very talented man himself, way more than a photographer. So big shout out, Chop. Braggs Designs. So Braggs Designs is a tattoo artist that I kind of manifested into my life. I've always wanted more tattoos, and I've always admired people's tattoos, and I've always not had the money for tattoos, because if you have tattoos, or if you know about tattoos and art, there's a price to pay, not only physically with the needles that go into your skin, and if you use numbing cream, I don't look at you the same, but I get it. Fucking numb it up. But not only do they cost money, but it's painful. But whether your tattoos tell a story or they are a reflection of your life or they just are art and whatever style it is, that's dope. The tattoos that are on my body, every single one of them has a very significant story. And I don't necessarily think that when I was getting the tattoos that I did that on purpose. And Braggs Designs came into my life after I had been in Hawaii for a while. He works at Sacred Art Tattoo, which is owned by a very dope human being named Jay. Shout out Sacred Jay. And I didn't have the money to get tattoos, but I wanted to get tattoos, and I developed a friendship that was super legitimate with Braggs, and I was able to create a trade, something that is of value. Because without it, I wouldn't have a lot of the tattoos that I have because I have so much responsibility that financially it just would be not in the cards. What's cool about that, with what Braggs is doing with the tattoos, is whether somebody else likes them or not, I don't give a shit. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point where I can honestly say I don't care what other people think. And my favorite quote of all time is from one of my favorite artists of all time, actor and phenomenal human being, Jim Carrey. And he says, when you stop caring about what other people think, you reach a dangerous level of freedom. And that is very, very true. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I never think about what people think, but I'm getting better at it the farther I go on my journey in my life. So what's cool about Braggs is not only is he a phenomenal artist, father, he loves Harley Davidsons, he's a wicked good human being amongst all the other great human beings in my life. But because I didn't have the money and because I had to wait, my body's not littered in tattoos. My body doesn't have things of not significant meaning. In the last few months, Braggs has done so many tattoos on me that I almost have a full sleeve on one arm, and he's done some other ones over here and my stomach, my last name, Sorgani, and he's just like, it's happened pretty quick. And at one point I came in, I was coming in to get some more work, and he said something to me that kind of slowed my roll, and that's what makes him a great friend of mine. Is he said, let it flow. Like, let's not try to rush it, because once you're tattooed, once you're inked, you're inked. So if we go too quickly, the significance that carries in all your tattoos aren't gonna hold so much value. And I was like, fuck, because I'm gonna ink my whole body, I don't give a motherfucker. But maybe I won't, you know what I mean? It'll just work out as it should. So shout out Braggs. So many people have contributed to the success that I'm proud to say that I've earned. And I've also been extremely humbled in a lot of different situations. And that growth has come and sometimes in leaps and bounds. And one of the things that has happened to me was I was blessed to be a guest to move to the island of Oahu. And I ended up moving to the island of Oahu from Reno, which I was very rooted in Reno. I had a beautiful house and a cul-de-sac, nice cars, phenomenal family, my mother here, my sister, my brother was here at one point. Like, I just had what most people would think I had it all. I had the good job, the diesel truck, the job shack, my Harley. I had everything I needed, but I was not happy. And the reason why I ended up going to Oahu is because I made a detrimental mistake that not only caused me pain, suffering, and has been a hard pill to swallow, and something that it's taken me a while to look myself in the eyes and forgive myself, because I've caused a lot of people pain. And when I moved to the island of Oahu, I didn't know a soul. I didn't have a friend there. I didn't have somebody to give me advice. And one thing that I was told before I moved there that made me even more, like, a little bit nervous for the transition of my life, because this is not the first time that I've made a transition, was people would be like, oh, whoa, they don't like the white boys out there. They don't like, like, be careful. And I was like, in my mind, for some moments, I would be like, oh yeah, maybe they're right. And it added to another pressure to an already pressurized situation. And I was also in a mental state of sadness because I'm leaving a place that I love and transitioning into a place that was so fucking foreign to me. I didn't know nothing. Nobody. And I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to go there. But I sacrificed Reno and the people here through my mistake, and challenged myself to try to salvage my relationship with my wife, David Dean Douglas's mother, and said, fuck it, we're gone. I remember very vividly the car ride over the Poly Highway on Oahu, there are 3 highways that go through the mountains to get to the east side where I was living. And again, I knew nothing about the mountains. I really didn't. And I remember looking out the window, and I remember feeling like very like lost and intimidated by this experience. And it's paradise, right? And this is my first time in Hawaii. I should have been like this, you know? Oh, Hawaii, yeah. Where are we gonna go? But I was probably at one of the lowest moments in my entire life. And I've had some lows. So in that moment, I experienced struggle in paradise, not even realizing that I was doing it. And the reason now reflecting that, to me, that holds such a tremendous amount of value is because people see paradise in the Hawaiian Islands. They see paradise. And one of the things that I've learned through so many amazing souls on that island is people see paradise, but they don't see the struggle. And that's from the locals to the people that try to move there. And from that day that I felt that way till now, the people that have impacted my life and the circles that I've been able to become a part of on the island are significant. There were days where I would sit on the beach and after a run or when I was alone, because one of the things that I had to go through on the island was becoming more comfortable with being alone. Because if I wasn't with David Dean for a while before I created relationships there in different circles, all I had was myself. And that was all ultimately caused by decisions that I made. And again, had I not done them, I wouldn't have been on the beach sitting by myself on Oahu. So, in giving people their flowers, I just want to say mahalo nui loa to every person that's ever stepped foot or worked at Kualoa Ranch, which is one of the most beautiful, most sacred places in all of Hawaii. And changed my life and helped me heal. And what's so powerful about that is I didn't know that at first. I didn't know that it was throughout history, it was a place of healing. And it's also a place where the elite, the most powerful kings, queens, and chiefs of all time in the Hawaiian culture used to stay. Kualoa at the top of it, Haloa, the first Hawaiian man in the Hawaiian culture, was born there. And the mo'olelo of the story that comes along with that, I learned. And I learned because I became a tour guide at that ranch. And that was the first job that I had on the ranch outside of my travels with doing all the Concrete Cowboy stuff or just stunt shows and events in general. And I learned so much. And I took that place very seriously. I took learning the Ike, the knowledge, and learning it properly and listening and humbling myself to be able to tell somebody else as a tour guide that's coming to one of the most beautiful, most sacred places in all the Hawaiian Islands. It dawned on me that as much as I was healing, I, without really knowing it or without really seeing it at first, there was a lot of responsibility in being a white boy or a haole or whatever, telling other foreigners or people that come to this island what I've learned. And I took it very, very seriously. And I probably learned more in the time that I worked there than I've ever learned in any grade in any school by any teacher. And it's because I applied myself because I cared, and I still do. And so if you ever go to Oahu, respectfully and step lightly and listen when you go there, and go take a tour there, because its beauty and its the fact that it's a nature preserve, and the fact that if you know the story, you know the history of it, it's owned by a white man, and that white man that owns it isn't one of the bad white men that came to the island and ultimately was the downfall of the sovereign kingdom of the Hawaiian Islands. And educate yourself, because throughout history, they don't teach us shit when you're in school as a kid. They don't teach us how to financially support ourselves and make the right decisions. They don't teach us how to balance checkbooks or to not have an immense amount of line of credit. It's just, you're kind of fucked when you get out of high school. And so ask the questions if you don't know, because you're not going to learn it otherwise. You know what I mean? So it's very, very important that that you listen and learn the right tools and know when to be at the right place at the right time and collect that knowledge, because EK is power, knowledge is power. And thank you to Coolo Ranch, all the souls, all the tour guides over there. And thank you. Thank you. One of the most cool people that I've met on the Hawaiian Islands as well is Tracy. Tracy is the owner of Coconut Guys and Girls. And when I was working at the ranch at lunch, you know, there's picnic tables and all the tour guides kind of circle and come throughout the tables at different times. And I started to take my lunch across the street and go eat by the ocean, which was one of the most beautiful things. Right there, you can see Mokuli'i, which is a small island next to Kualoa. You can see the ocean. It's just so beautiful. And I would just sit in the sand. I would sit by myself, and I would eat my lunch. And I wouldn't sit at the picnic tables, and it wasn't because I didn't want to sit with the people and the tour guides. It was because I was forming a relationship by doing something for myself and going and doing something different with somebody that, had I not done that for me, and just because it was dope, and I was the only one doing it, I wouldn't have met Tracy and her husband. And I've consistently gone there ever since I developed a relationship with her. And I used to exchange my presence, and she would exchange it with me, and the conversations would get better, and they would be just enough time. They wouldn't be too long, they wouldn't be too short, they would be just enough. And now she allowed me to really, truly understand the value of ohana, of family, because she's told me that, and I already knew it before she told me, but being accepted into her ohana, into her family, by true Hawaiian locals that taught me that saying that everybody sees paradise, nobody sees the struggle, that I respect her so much. And she became so close to me so fast, and her business mattered to me so much. And every tour that I took, I would tell the tour guides, you can go do all that shit, but that woman across the street that owns Coconut Guys and Girls, you know, go see her. The sweet treats are amazing, and the experience is invaluable, like it's priceless. And right before I came back on tour to go do the shows that I was just doing, I went and saw her with David D and Doug, and it's just like each time I see her, it's just like it's better than the last. And it's like that with everybody that I encounter on the island, and everybody that I come across when I travel, it seems like it's getting better and better and more valuable with them as well. So it's like, and she's not the only one on the island that I do that with, but it's like, I think that I already like carried myself with aloha, or with this presence of positivity and upfulness and love, that me moving there and going to that ranch and going to meet Tracy and healing and having those moments of being alone and working through it, getting up in the morning, running, exercising, getting good rest, being very, very healthy, completing my first half marathon, like fucking just was like really focused on taking care of myself. It's allowed me to not only understand how to move better through this world and treat people, but it's like an eye-opening thing, because I already had that aloha, that goodness about me, and it's just made it better. And so thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Coconut Guys and Girls. And I had learned another skill that I added to the tool belt recently, over the last couple of years. And the man's name is Ben Deacon, and his father's name is Deacon. And I'm not going to tell you his first name because his name's Deacon. Deacon is earned the title and the right to be called a master mechanic, period. His son is on his way, and it's like, I'm humble enough, he's humble enough for me to say that he's damn good. And he's had a great teacher. I started working at White Knuckle Speed Shop in between my travels, doing announcing shit. And at one point I was working at Cool Oil Ranch. I was working as a parasailer, as a deckhand, and I was working at White Knuckle Speed Shop. I didn't know Ben Deacon for a while when I lived there. Didn't really hear of him either, but from the moment I lived there, I didn't know that the bike culture and the bike life scene was so broad there. It is, and it's dope. It's a lot of scooters, 2 strokes, and it's a lot of dirt bike kids, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, really dope. So I kind of started seeing that, and I didn't have a bike on the island for a while because I had sold my Harley, the Green Goblin. I'd sold it, so I didn't have a bike. And I hadn't really ridden a bike until Christmas time, the first year that we lived there when I was working at the ranch. David Dean and his mother and his sister were going to go back to Reno to experience Christmas with their family. Well, I was working at the ranch and I couldn't get the time off, so I couldn't go. So not only was I gonna not see Peyton and Tanner and my friends and family, I was gonna spend Christmas alone. I was tripping, and I was mad, and I was frustrated. I was pissed, dude. And I held my tongue, and I didn't really express that to Chanel because I fucking had already been growing and healing, and I, at some point realized that you're gonna be alone on Christmas because you're a dumbass and you fucked up. But that didn't mean that I wasn't sad about it and fucking this close to fucking being like, well, I guess I gotta quit the ranch because I'm not gonna be alone on Christmas. I'm gonna go see my family. If you guys don't understand that I need to take this time away, then maybe the ranch this is where I step away. I didn't leave. And I didn't leave because if I had left, the ranch would have been like, hey, we love you, but we have to let you go. You can't just do that. And so I stayed. And I didn't want to be alone, and I talked to a few friends about it, and one of the friends that I talked to about it was one of my very, very, very good friends, Concrete Cowbite, and what I would consider one of the GOATs, or the GOAT, not only because of his riding, but just his history and who he's become as a person now, and it's Seabear Stunts. And so he found out that I was going to be alone on Christmas, and he had his daughter, and he had Joanna, and he was like, you're not going to be alone on Christmas. And out of his own dime and his own time, and out of his extremely charismatic, huge heart, he traveled with his baby Lou and his child's mother, and they got on a flight, and they came to spend Christmas with me in Hawaii so that I wasn't alone, which was one of the many extremely valuable things that I've had in our friendship. And I love that man to death. And what's cool about it is I think I'm one of the very few friends as well that's seen where he comes from and experienced the history of him as a man, as a teenager, as a boy, because I've been to Ohio, I've met his family, I've stayed at his family's house, and I've gained their love and respect, and they become a part of our Ohana, our family, ultimately. And so I know I'm on a deeper level. And so it was really a special thing when he came to spend Christmas with me. And one of the things that he did was he was like, we got to ride. And I was like, oh, we got to ride. We got to ride. Well, I had already met some kids through the bike life there. One of my buddies, Chris, who, what up, Chris? Chris is in the U.S. Navy, so we have that in common. And Chris prone foils, wing foils, and he's very, very talented at it. He downwinds, and he had a FZ06. He had an FZ06, and I told Seabear, I was like, I got us a bike. I was like, my boy Chris is gonna float us his bike. I was like, I got you a bike, Bear. And he's like, I got us another one. And I was like, you did? And he's like, yeah, I know this guy named Ben. And I was like, Ben? I was like, okay. He's like, he's gonna throw me this Harley. And I was like, all right, let's go get it. So Seabear and I hopped on the loaner from our boy Chris, thanks Chris, and we rode 2 up on this bike. And at one point, me and Seabear were doing wheelies on this fucking thing, broad daylight, to go get this Harley. And that was the first time that I was introduced to Ben Deacon. And he gave us the Harley, and that was the spark of another circle that I am very, very blessed to be a part of. After I met Ben Deacon, that tool that I've added to my tool belt is becoming a pretty decent mechanic. Or more, let's just say this. I've become way more mechanically inclined. And I have the abilities to do it, but nobody took the time to show me. Well, Ben and his dad they don't speak often, and they don't waste their words, and they're very observant. And they're not the only ones that are like that. That's just part of the people that are that grow up on the islands. Like, that's where I learned that humble and that listen, and that, like, you see people, right? You're quiet. And so I've learned to, like, know when to shut the fuck up. And so that's, like, something that I also added to my arsenal, to my tool belt, is being humble and listening and paying attention. Learning from Ben and his father, I didn't really learn nothing from his pops for a while when I worked there. And it wasn't because of any reason other than I kind of stayed out of his fucking way. Like, I just respected him as a man, and I just was like, yo, like, that's fucking Deacon. Like, show your respect. Like, if he needs help with something, he'll ask you. And if he doesn't, or, you know, if you have a question, you can ask him, but go to Ben first. And so I learned from Ben, and slowly over time, Deacon, who I thought for a while didn't really like me, you know, that's how it felt. But really, he was just observing me. And he was observing how I was treating his son. He was observing how I was learning, and he was seeing if I was worthy as a man enough to be shown shit that him as a man has worked his entire fucking life, day in and day out, to grind and provide and not only raise amazing kids, but take amazing care of his wife, because he's a fucking G. And so slowly but surely, I started to gain that. You know, it's kind of ironic, but it's like something as simple as holding a flashlight. And when it started to happen at first, I'd be so locked in at whatever little task he was giving me when we were working hand in hand, because I felt like I was under the pressure cooker, that if I fucked it up, he'd be like, you know, he was testing me. I was being tested. And because of who I am and all the shit that I've accomplished in my past, whether it be playing football or fucking whatever it was, when I've been rose to a challenge, I've rose to the occasion, and I've fucking, majority of the time, I've been succeeding. So it was similar to that, but in a different way. And I would say that Deacon has no idea the amount of love that I have for his family, and I don't think he really understands how grateful I am. Not for what he's taught me or whatever, but how he's not only developed a relationship with me, but he has a pretty fucking unique and cool and loving relationship with David Dean too. Because my son spends time with us at the shop. And it seems like for a while I was very like careful of how much time Dave would spend at the shop, because I respect Ben and I respect the shop. And it's, to be honest with you, for a fucking 4-year-old to be cruising around there, it's not really a place for him. David Dean's a little different. And he's different because he's traveled with me to do shows. He's been engulfed in Harleys and my friends and the people, stunt riders. He's grown up in it his entire life. I have pictures of me holding David Dean Douglas at fucking 3 months, not even 2 weeks, whatever the fuck, in a stunt show. Like, that's who he is. It's a part of his being. And he's my best friend for that. Like, he's there at the shop, and he's okay to be there. And if he wasn't able to be there, he wouldn't have developed that relationship with Deacon, and he wouldn't have Uncle Ben as much as he does. So I just want to thank not just Ben and Deacon, but Jay, Henry, Seth, even Dan the man, the Australian, something fucker. And all the people that bring their motorcycles there and not only trust Ben Deacon and myself to wrench on them, but help provide for us and our families. So It's a big circle, you know? Money comes and money goes. And if you ride a motorcycle, and it doesn't fucking matter really which one it is, or whatever walk of life you are, if you share that in common with somebody, who gives a fuck what bike they're on, you know? Oh, what, you don't like it? It's not your style? Well, fucking, who the fuck, you know? That's just like not liking the same food as somebody or not listening to the same genres of music. How about you open up your fucking eyes and open up your heart and realize that you have something in common that's, there's not that many people out of 7 billion people in the world that understand that true feeling of riding a motorcycle. So why are you gonna fucking punk somebody or not include them or make them feel like they're not involved because they're not on a Harley Davidson or something that you fuck with? Like, dude, it's like, there's value in that, you know? There's value in inclusion. There's value more than you know in making somebody feel like they're not left out. And more than anything, I think not only me, but my team and the other team, East Coast and Concrete Cowboys, all of us, do a tremendous job of that, of making people feel included. I get asked all the time, what's my job? And it's like, you know, to sum it up and to like be humble about it, it's like, my job is to give people permission to have a good time at stunt shows. Stunt shows are wheelies and burnouts, and in our case, is me running around like a fucking madman and trying to elevate the experience. And most of the time, it's perceived very, very well. And there's a reason why I don't read the fucking YouTube comments. There's a reason for it. Because out of all the positivity that not only I bring, but we bring as a team, and the only way that we can bring that energy is if everybody comes together. Because it's not one guy that makes it such a dope team. It's all 8 characters, all 8 people that make it so impactful. And when it's go time, when it's show time, yeah, it's another Harley Davidson show, and yeah, it's like this, but you can't know it unless you go experience it. And that's so many things in life in general. That's like saying, oh, I don't fuck with football because like whatever, and you watch it on TV, and then you go to a Dallas Cowboys game at AT&T Stadium against a rival, and you watch the game in real life, and you're immediately a football fan. It doesn't fucking matter, I guarantee it. You know, because experiencing that thing in real life is what's gonna open up your fucking closed mind. So I encourage anybody and everybody, if you're thinking about coming to one of our shows, I encourage you to pull up, and I want you to understand something. You will be treated with respect, and you will be valued for being there, because without you coming there and hanging out with us, we can't do what the fuck we do. I can't feed my family. I can't chase my dream and accomplish the goals that I'm trying to accomplish. So without the fans, the people, and the ones that share that love for motorcycles with me, and people that show up to the shows that really didn't think they fucked with it, but come into one of our shows, realize that this shit's fucking really cool. And it's not just the wheelies and burnouts, but it's the experience, it's the vibes, it's the feng shui of all of us collectively coming together and doing an event. And what's cool for me is not only do I get to do that on the biggest stages of any Harley Davidson stunt show of all time, Harley Davidson specifically, I'm not speaking for all stunt shows here. And the only reason why I can say that is because that was given to us in a comment on a video by another one of the greats, Sit Down Steve, and that's why I speak on that. So not only do I get to do that on the biggest stages in the industry, and it's been a really cool experience for me to do that, and we've been able to broadcast what we do and give that experience to people that without that we would have never been able to do. Like, you know, without links and sponsors and everybody coming together and the moving parts, and all 8 of us for the last 3 years since it started sticking together. And let me tell you, that in itself has been an immense task. And at one point, the team almost broke up. It's like a fucking band, if you will, you know, in its own respect. And we just keep sticking together. And I'm happy to be able to be the glue, or, you know, at times the glue that helps keep us together, because I don't want to lose that experience. And I'm not going to allow any of us to take all the sacrifices that everybody's made, but especially me with my kids and my family, because that's been a major contributor of me causing so many pain in my people that I'm not fucking giving up. I am all in. As long as this is gonna go, I'm gonna give it as much as I can. And I'm gonna keep this shit together, you know? But it's great to be a part of the Concreters, the Concrete Cow guys, Concrete Cow Buddies. But I also get to experience that with the East Coastin' boys too, which is a totally different level. So again, thank you to all the fans, thanks to all the people, and thanks to both the teams and all their families and extended friends and shit, because I get to meet them too, you know? So I'm very, very fucking grateful for that. Real quick too, with all that and where we're at now, and what is it, 2026 or 2025? 2025? What day is it? What's today? September 26th. I'm fucking with you guys, I know what date it is. But to be honest with you, I used to work that 9 to 5, right? And I used to think, man, this fucking sucks, because I felt like I had to get the fuck out of it, you know? I didn't want to be normal. I didn't want this fucking shit, you know? There was somebody that inspired me to grab a microphone for the first time doing stand-up, and that was one of my greatest friends of all time, Alex Heem, who's also an artist himself. And there was also somebody that inspired me and kind of fucking, I didn't have a choice, and without him, I would not be a Concrete Cowboy. I would not be a part of East Coastin', and I would not, in my own right, be one of the fucking, somebody that's earned his right to call himself a very, very good announcer and master of ceremonies. And I'm gonna continue to work my ass off, stay humble, and try to even better what I am now. But this fucker is a part of my Harley team, but not a part of the stunt teams. He's a part of my family and extended family through motorcycles, through Harley Davidsons. And what's cool about this fucker is he has a twin. And what's cool about this fucker as well is they were raised by a man that was based on principles, was put his family first, and didn't take shit from nobody. And when I was in his presence, or when I was around him, it was like, I didn't want to be friends with his sons, whether I met him or not, but when I was around him, it made me realize how valuable these motherfuckers are. And it made me want to never lose that connection with them in my life, because like I got them and they got me. And so thank you to their father. And their father went through some medical struggles, and his father has moved on. But he left his legacy here, and he left his legacy with his twin sons and his daughter and his family, his friends. And it's the Cook family. And Tanner and Ty, the twins, I love to death. And we went to high school together, and we were friends way before the motorcycle shit. But those boys were already a part of the motorcycle shit. You know, I was around it as a kid and grew up around it, but my daddy didn't have a Harley Davidson. My daddy didn't bring me to clubhouses and fucking have that circle of life, you know? So their dad did a dope job of making them in their own rights a part of the motorcycle community. Now, the guy that made me who I am today as an announcer is the kid that's a cook, and his name's Ty, and we were at a show in Carson City at Carson Harley, and I had my Dyna, and I was a part of like the motorcycle scene with Tahoe Shit Show and Tahoe Motorcycle Connection, B Squad, and like that people, but I had never announced a show. The riders that were at the show that day was Bag of Kill, big shout out BK. Joey 55 was there. Tremendous amount of respect for Joey 55 and his partner, co-owner of their shop, Centers Only, out there in San Diego, California. And Samoan Bruce, phenomenal father, stunt rider, fucking family man. And so those guys were out there. I knew who they all were through the Instagrams. And it was dope as fuck to see them in Carson, in the capital of Nevada, and we were all there, and it was like the hype was real. I had no fucking clue or idea that somebody was gonna fucking grab the microphone from the kid that was doing a pretty decent job at announcing, but he wasn't an announcer. He was doing a job that nobody else wanted to do that day. And I don't remember his name, and I hope I cross past him. And if you're watching this or you think you remember who he was, I'd love to know his name. Ty Cook grabbed the microphone off of a chair, and he brought it to me, and he said, "Go announce the show." And I was like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? And I did. So I was challenged, and I didn't realize in that moment, but that moment from one of my little brothers and one of my people was gonna ultimately change my life tremendously. So appreciate it, you know? But fuck you at the same time, you fucker. You've caused me to fucking quit that 9 to 5, bro. People think that the 9 to 5, like you want to be a business owner, you want to chase your dreams, and you think that like you're gonna have all this like downtime and like shit's gonna be mellow. It's like, I had no idea that I was signing myself up to basically be a workaholic and be away from my family and have to have so many sacrifices and so many fucking obstacles and so many challenges, and it's made me a better person. It's made me a better man, you know? Do you ever feel like you just got to get some shit off your chest? I needed to get some shit off my chest. This podcast almost didn't happen. So thank you for all the fans that when I've been through the travels, because you know this podcast isn't some glorified shit. This ain't the Joe Rogan Experience. You know, this ain't some of the bigger podcasts that people listen to. But what's fucking great is I didn't allow the low numbers and whatever what people thought was like, oh, he's only got like this many subscribers or whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck. Because as much as I'm doing it for me, I'm doing it for the industry, I'm doing it for the scene. And if you listen to this and if you support me, fucking thank you. Whether I have 500 or fucking 10 million followers and subscribers, it doesn't matter. It's impacting and it's helping me. And it's reaching the people that it needs to reach. So thank you. So thank you to the people that were like, hey dude, where's the next episode? What the fuck, bro? Where's the gap? Why is the gap there? Because it was so important for me to do an episode a month. And I did an episode a month because podcasts and studios like this shit ain't free. So it was a financial thing. And then I got sponsors to that. And then it was scheduling, you know, it was like trying to get a guy like Junkyard Kenny here, or trying to get a guy like Brian 66 here, or Barham here, or all the guests, Jesse here. Like that shit's not hard. There's a lot of work that goes into that prior to us recording fucking 1 through 21 episodes. So I appreciate everybody being patient. And I tried to keep the podcast going in Hawaii, and guess what, bro? It ain't the fucking same. I did one episode there, and it was very valuable. It's cool. And I'm not gonna do it anywhere else. Oh, Joe, why don't you do mobile podcasts? Well, you're with all these guys all the time. Why don't you do it when you're traveling shit? I'm not gonna do that. One, I'm not gonna buy fucking however much money and equipment. I'm not gonna lug it around with me. And I'm not gonna be somewhere responsible for other shit and try to get whatever individual to sit down. And the biggest reason is because if you hold value in the people that put something together that were there for you from the beginning, sometimes you have to apply patience to keep that same energy, that same vibe. Because Jay Lifestyle Studios and this experience has what's made this, for me, valuable. And when I'm home, I'm gonna do everything in my power to record an episode. And if I'm not here, you're probably not gonna get another one. So this is the 21st episode of the Out on Sick One podcast. And my name's Joe Sorgani, Joe Comedy. And again, thank you so much. And this isn't some closeout thank you. This was me getting some shit off my chest. And so this almost didn't happen. Real quick, briefly, it almost didn't happen. I almost thought I had so much on my plate and I was gonna come to Reno, see my kids, see my friends, street vibrations, you know. And I was wore the fuck out. I'm tired, dude. I'm tired. I give energy and fucking flow and this vibration all the fucking time. And I love that, but I'm fucking tired. But I can't quit because my job's not done yet. And that saying, there ain't no rest for the wicked, that's true, but I remember to go to bed. But I'm operating at a higher frequency in my own right because of the energy and shit that I get from other people, you know? So Thanks. Episode 21. Hey, Don. I'll see you guys out on the road. I got a show in Vegas coming up with East Coastin'. Check the flyers. Don't ask me what time it is and shit. If you see the flyers, it's all over the Instagram. And then we got Moto Beach Classic coming up, which is one of my favorite events of the year. Bolsa Chica State Beach outside of Huntington. And then the next day, we're opening Concrete Cowboy Cycles. And it's really good. It's really, really cool. So if you can make those events, great. And if you can't, no worries. And if you're struggling to go through some shit, just know that you're not fighting alone. And that's why I rock my hair like this. One of the reasons. And if you're working a 9 to 5, keep fucking grinding, keep going, make that experience as valuable as it can be for you. And if you're thinking about leaving and you're worried about money, take the lead, take the jump, you know? Because if you leave with love and compassion and you purposely have great intention, it's gonna be all right. Lastly, real quick, shout out Be Mazy. I got more music coming. And without that fool, I wouldn't have it. Love y'all. Stay safe, ride safe. And before you hang up the phone with your loved ones, remind them that you love them. All right? Shoots. Hui ho. Mahalo nui loa.